Life in Letters.
The presenting sponsor of My Life in Letters is sprayplanet.com. This is where you go to get everything MTN colors, be it 94, hardcore, whatever it is, go check them out. They're also the distributor of Crink products, Posca markers, and Grog inks. So go check out sprayplanet.com right now, order something, and go make your mark. But without further ado, let's get into this next episode. My Life in Letters, we're back and on the phone right now from Omaha, Nebraska. We're super blessed, super excited to talk with this kid, HAMER from, I guess you were just telling me, man, it's about that out late, up early collective. I don't know what you guys call yourselves. You said it's not a graph crew, but and that you don't even push crews. So hopefully we'll get to talk about that in a second. But yeah, dude, thanks for being here. We're honored.
Hell yeah, man. I'm excited.
Yeah. And, you've been killing it, dude. Like, every time I, look around, man, actually, it's funny, dude. I just went to your page last night and I was like, why does this kid only have a few posts on his page? I swear there were more. You've been deleting posts? Is that your style?
Yeah. Yeah. I just kind of deleted everything off there. I'm just a lot more selective with what I want people to see, I guess.
Yeah, I mean that's a smart thing on Instagram to curate, But
yeah.
What is a constant, dude, is your letter styles, sort of the way you execute, the quality of the work that you do is high, and that's cool. And also, just like I told you before we did the interview, that somehow I got confused, thought you were Canadian. No offense, but you were definitely American. And Omaha, born and raised?
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
I was actually, my dad, he was in the Marines for 10 years. So we were kind of all over when we were little. So I lived in California when I was 2. And then for a very short time, we lived in Sioux City, Iowa. And then eventually made our way back to Omaha, which is where most of my family is from. So kind of been all over when we were little.
Yeah. And, you told me that you started writing in 2002. But before that, the place that we like to try to just see if we can find a story or an experience or something in our childhood where lettering became impactful or where lettering had some sort of value to you. And I wonder if you have a story or a memory of that pre-graffiti and pre even knowledge of graffiti. Is there anything about that in your background?
Oh yeah, big time, man. So a lot of people who pay attention to phrase, they definitely know that Nebraska has the biggest train yard in America, and which is in North Platte. And my dad, he works for the railroad. He's an engineer. He drives trains. So he takes trains from, he drives to Fremont, Nebraska, hops on a train, takes it to North Platte, stays one night, and then brings another train back. So that's what my dad does for a living. And when I was little, I always was drawing, doing art, doodling, always drawing in class, never doing my homework, And I was always interested in art and that type of stuff. And when I was little, I was really young, man, probably 10 years old. And my dad, the Union Pacific Railroad, they had a carnival actually in the train yard in Council Bluffs, Iowa, which is right outside of Omaha. Yeah, they had a little carnival. They had rides for the kids, and there was a guy there, and he was doing sketches. So I was really interested in that. But once we got in the train yard, I started seeing all the trains rolling by and all the train cars sitting there, and they had graffiti all over them. And I looked at one, and I looked at my dad, and I was like, what is that on my train? And he was like, oh, that's the logo on the train. I was like, no, at the bottom, across the train, with all those colors. And he said, you're looking at the graffiti. He's like, that's graffiti. You're not supposed to do that. And I was like, what? I didn't get it. I was like, why not? It's right there, Yeah. So that was the first time I saw, to what I thought at the time was cool graffiti, looked good. I didn't know anything about it. I was just wow,
and you're 10 years old. What year was that?
Oh man, let's see. I'm 28. So
what year were you
late
born
90s?
then?
I was born 88.
Okay, so it's 1998 approximately
it was like
that you're
90,
seeing
it was
these
like 98,
trains.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
Yep.
and I'm just assuming that like the freight scene was just booming in 98 out in Nebraska. I just know how it was in the Bay Area where I grew up. It was just like, shit was on smash out there. So I'm presuming it's the same thing for you guys. I'm super interested, man, in knowing what your dad's opinion was as an employee. And he said to you, that's you don't do that or that's bad. What else did he tell you about Graph when you were young?
Oh man, he didn't know anything about it. He had no clue. I mean, they lived in California off and on for years, and so I mean, of course, they've seen it everywhere there, And but as far as really knowing anything about it or how serious people really took it, he knew nothing about it.
And so, what about like from like an employee or like someone affiliated with Union Pacific? I mean, do you know what their opinion back then was of all the trains getting painted?
Oh man, people, the employees in Omaha, they could care less about the graffiti. They don't even care. It doesn't bother them at all. I've actually talked to railroad workers in the train yard while I'm painting graffiti, and they're just they don't even, as long as you're not going over all the ID numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, really, man, they could care less because they know you're probably painting over graffiti anyway. There's probably already graffiti on there. You know what I mean? So, I mean, my dad's perspective, though, I mean, I think it worried him a little bit, but I was only 10, so how far can I really go?
Right. Yeah.
So it was a while till I was really able to start going at it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, and did they? I mean, you said that you were always doodling and drawing, and you were into art. Were your parents into art? Did they support you making art?
Yes. From a very young age. As soon as I started drawing, anytime that I needed a new sketchbook, I needed anything, my mom would pick stuff up, and she really encouraged that a lot.
That's awesome.
Lot.
That's cool.
They were super down with art, but no one in my family is an artist. No one in my entire family. I had an uncle that did like wood carvings and cool stuff like that. But I mean, from a young age, man, I knew how to look at something. I knew how to figure it out, and I could learn how to draw.
That's awesome.
So,
and like, I'm curious about like, let's say around that time when you were 10, like what was the kind of stuff you were doodling? Like we've talked to guys who made comics and we talked to guys who would, replicate album covers and just stuff like that. What were you drawing when you were a kid?
Oh man, any comic book that I found, I would just sit there and copy it. I would draw the muscles, draw the faces, I would even draw the letters, like all the action sounds and everything. I would draw those, and I thought that looked cool too, and maybe that was like the first time I really seen letters, and I was like, yeah, it was cool, like it's not just like straight right across letters.
Yeah, totally.
Like
we've had so many people say that actually, that like Saturday morning like comics, and then just like comic books was like a big influence on that letter, on like stylizing letters. So I'm sure it did have effect on you.
Huge.
And I'm also curious about like the scene in Omaha. So if you're 10 years old in 1998 and your dad works for Union Pacific and you're seeing freights and you're seeing Graph, like that was your first introduction. Did it then like open up things? Like, did you start noticing Graph around your city or in the suburbs? Yeah. What were you seeing?
Oh yeah. I started looking at everything, anything that I thought someone would do graffiti on. Oh my God. I mean, I would hurt my neck. I'd be looking out this window and that window, driving with my parents, I'd be looking at everything. But, it sucks because being young and being so into it, like right away it grabbed my attention. And I was just like, I wanted to know everything I could about it, But I lived in Omaha, Nebraska.
Right.
So it's so limited. Like the amount of graffiti writers that were here in 98. I mean, I couldn't even tell you how many graffiti writers there were that were active in 1998 in Omaha, Nebraska.
I mean, can we speculate for a second? Because I'm curious about like the culture of Omaha. I've been there, but I haven't like really kind of like dug in my heels, to know what it's all about. And certainly not back in 98. Actually, that's not true. I was in Omaha in 1998. That's funny. We were going to Paint Louis and we were like racking at like Hobby Lobbies in Omaha. We racked a ton of paint out of that.
Yeah, it was super easy back then.
It was. Okay. And but I'm curious, right? Because like, who do you remember, or can you name a couple names from 98? I know you were a little kid, but do you have any names that you remember from back then?
Yeah. The first two guys that I remember seeing and being young, when I first seen graffiti was this guy, Series. He wrote Series. He was living in Omaha for a short amount of time, and I think he was from California, but he moved here for family or something. And I would see all these Series tags, like little marker tags and stuff like that, and then a couple like fill-ins and stuff. And I would see Series, and then when I got old enough, once I started hitting like 13, 14, I had friends who were driving, and we started going to trains. I painted my first train car when I was 13 years old. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I used to skip school. I used to skip school and go paint trains with my friend Andrew when we were young.
Nice.
Right? And, yeah, the guys were working in the yard. They were pushing trains around, and we were just young and dumb. Thinking like, oh, it's no big deal. And just wanting to do it.
And so I'm interested in you're talking about this guy's Series. I assume you never met him.
No, I've never met him. And I've never met him before.
And would you think that he had a pretty big influence on you, and that he was just like one of the people that you could find that was actually doing something?
Yes. Yeah.
Did he have style? Could you appreciate the hand style or his fill-in style?
He was. It was pretty basic, mm-hmm. but at the same time, it had like that funk in it, and it was really. He almost did his letters like in a wave. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And it was like really, like he wanted to make sure it was really legible and everyone could read it. Even his tags, they weren't like all crazy or anything. That was like really legible, So.
And you were seeing those like were they like prominent in the city? Was he bombing, or would you like see it like behind buildings or like under a freeway or things like that? Where were you seeing it?
Yeah, again, man, I was so young, so I could only go so far. True. You know what I mean? When I first started seeing him. So it was like when I was in the car with my parents, I would look around, and every now and then, boom, I'd catch a Series tag, and I was like, damn, I wonder if that kid's my age, or I wonder if he's older, like I had no idea,
And then it was a few years later, you said you painted your first train, but let's kind of pick apart those 3 years, like between 10 and 13, because, you had mentioned that it's hard to find, just like information in Omaha, right? Because of it's maybe not populated with a lot of writers, or the culture had been, it just took a while to ramp up. Where were you finding information? Like, were you a 10-year-old that had access to the internet?
No.
Okay.
No, my parents, we didn't have a computer until I was probably like 17. Mm-hmm. I think I was like 17 years old before they even got a computer.
I mean, and that's beautiful, because like there's just so many internet era writers who their first graph they saw was on like Art Crimes or whatever it was, you know what I mean? And so like all of a sudden they just have this like treasure trove of things to bite. But I think it's kind of cool that you didn't have a computer. But were you able to like, I don't know, go to a library and see subway art? Could you dig up information about graffiti? And if so, how did you do it?
Dude, honestly, man, for the longest time, everyone that was doing graffiti, like the people that I knew of, were only on freight trains. And then the very few people that were in Omaha. So any graffiti that I've seen or was influenced by, it was the trains that I've seen in Omaha.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there was this guy, Close. He writes Close, Cloze, and he's been painting trains forever. And he's from Grand Island, Nebraska. And when I was really young, I used to see his trains too. And I'm pretty sure he actually knew that guy's Series.
Okay.
But Close was another, like one of the first people I seen. I was like, damn, man, that shit is sick. Because I would catch his trains that he painted, even like a couple weeks before, and they'd be in Omaha, and you could look at them and you knew, like, man, that looks pretty recent,
And you mentioned this kid Andrew that you used to cut school with and go paint. What was his? Where do you think he was learning about graph?
Oh man, I mean, we were the same, man. We were just kind of like this. We were just these couple kids that just fucking ran around, and we were tagging on everything. And we would go to the train yard 2 or 3 times a day. You know, we would like go rack paint. And we were young, you know, so we didn't even think like, oh, let's get a cart of paint or a basket even. We would just like fit as many cans into our clothes as we could, and we'd go paint a train, and then we'd run out of paint.
Even that, I mean, like, did you know that you were like racking, like the term racking, or were you just stealing cans out of necessity because that was the only way you could get it?
No, I had no clue. I've never heard the term racking. I was like, dude, I don't even have a job. I'm young. My parents are going to like buy me spray paint. I'm like, what the hell do you need all this spray paint for, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I would go and I would steal it from small department stores that were easy, you know?
What kind of paint were you getting early on?
Oh my God, man. There was this paint store, Diamond Vogel, that was right by my parents' house. And I would go in there and I would steal their brand of spray paint that they had.
Okay. Yeah.
And this was so long ago, and there's no way they even still have this.
Was it like basically around. Like auto paint with their name on it, or was it a little better than that?
No, it was like just regular spray paint, and they had so many colors, just like few selected colors, you know.
Were they like primaries, or did they actually have some decent shades of colors?
You know, from the looks of all the colors, it looked like it was the majority of colors that people would use on their houses.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was almost like they wanted it to be like their touch-up paint or something. You know what I mean? So
yeah, they had
like grays and whites and of course black, you know, and stuff like that, and silver. So I would always steal the silvers and the blacks and the whites, and it was terrible, man. It was awful paint.
But but you know what? It sounds pretty cool, man. It sounds like actually it just seems like it was probably a pretty pure time. Again, you don't have all this influence of the internet. You don't have a ton of there's basically not no scene, but there's a very small scene. Sounds pretty cool. Like just from my perspective, like growing up in San Francisco, huge scene, living in Brooklyn now, huge scene. Like I kind of I'm nostalgic to even imagine an internet free scene with not that many people. Like it sounds pretty dope.
Yeah.
And cool. But it's also interesting too, right? Because it's like because there was not much influence, you have to like just bootstrap and figure stuff out. And you had your buddy Andrew. What did he write?
Oh, he wrote Center, SENR.
Oh, did he keep writing Center, or was that like short lived?
No, I mean he did graffiti for probably a couple of years, man. He burned out. He was really heavy into skateboarding. So
that was the other thing I was going to ask, because like a lot of people that we talk to on the show, skateboarding brings a lot of graph culture to their communities wherever they are, right? And it's going to be a little more punk, a little bit less like hip hoppy, if there's such a thing as like hip hop graph. Did skateboarding graph, sort of punk graph? I've even people call it stoner graph, which I really love that term. Was that stuff in Omaha? Was that a part of what you were seeing?
I skateboarded too a lot. I mean, that's pretty much all I did when I was a teenager, skateboard and graffiti. So, I mean, everyone at the skate park knew who I was and knew what I wrote. You know, being young and stupid, just kind of like putting my name on my skateboard, you know, something dumb like that.
Totally.
You know, and also I'm like tagging on everything, you know, and it's just like, I would never in a million years do that now, you know what I mean? But when you're 15, of course. It's like, check this out, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, were there other skaters that were doing something similar?
Maybe a couple. There's a couple, you know, a lot of kids went in waves, and they get caught once and they get scared. And
sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's it. They're done. You never see them again, you know?
Okay. Yeah. And so I'll go back. Like when you're 10, you were seeing pieces on trains, and then you said you started seeing series, and you saw some clothes freights. Did that get you to start sketching early on? Like, were you drawing letters at 10 after you saw those initial trains with your dad at that carnival?
I was definitely curious about it. Like I said, I would doodle stuff out of comic books. Like I would just literally sit there and like copy comic book art, you know? And so I think that's where I got my understanding from drawing. But then I figured out that letters was really pretty much the same thing. Like you have to do like your construction and make sure this line is parallel with this line and make sure that, you know what I mean? Like, it's really almost the same thing. It's almost the same steps into making your letters look good and having a piece together.
Yeah.
So when I started seeing series around the city, and then I started seeing clothes, that's when I started looking at their letters, and I was like, man, like, how did he even think to make his E like that, like an E, you know? And I'm like, okay, it's just kind of like you're just moving this and bending this and then pinching this and, you know, just kind of extending that part and just playing with it really and making it what you want to make it, but also at the same time making sure it looks correct, you know?
And like, as far as like what looked correct, like what did you have to go off of? I mean, that was it. It was like clothes and series, but that was like your bar that you were judging stuff on?
Dude, honestly, yeah, man, it was. Anything I seen on trains that I thought looked cool, if I was like, oh man, that's sick, you know, like I would snap a photo of it with like a cheap ass camera from Walgreens, and I would go get all these pictures developed of all the trains I took pictures of, and I would go home and I would look at them and I'd be like, man, okay, well this guy did this like that, and you know, like, damn, this guy's E looks totally different from this guy's E, or this S is way different, you know, like. So it was really, I mean, I started getting a collection of photos of trains that I was seeing when I was young. You know, my dad even a couple times took me to the train yard because I was like, I want to go take pictures of trains, you know. And of course, he thought it was a phase. And then here I am, almost 30 years old.
Yeah. Well, and so, okay. And so I'm really like, okay, so basically you're talking about, I like that you created your own internet in a way, because you're just like going out to the yard, taking flicks, building a little album, which was like your encyclopedia of like graph. I have a couple questions. Like, I'm wondering if you can remember as that young kid, like what your understanding was of this graffiti, like what it all meant, if it meant anything to you at all, or if it was just like colors. I've had some people say it didn't matter, it was just bold and bright. I've had other people say, oh, I had a feeling that there was some sort of a subculture behind it. So that's one question, like what your understanding of the graph was. And another, actually, why don't you just answer that part first? Like, do you have a memory of what you thought it was all about?
Honestly, man, I just figured that it was some guy with a nickname, like, and they were painting their names on the trains, and they just did it a little bit cooler than most people could, you know?
Okay.
Like, I just figured it was probably like, you know, like, hey, this is my name, and I put it on the train. But then, you know, like clothes, coming back to him, I seen a clothes, and then I seen another one.
Yep.
And then I seen another one, and I kept seeing them, kept seeing them, you know? And all of it, I obviously like does this. This is like a regular thing. Like, it's not just like he went and did this a couple times and then did it a couple times next month. Like, he's like painting trains. He's doing that regularly, you know? So, and I figured out, it was like, man, you know, and that's when I was getting a little older. And like I said, I finally had friends who drove. My friend Andrew, he drove. So we started going downtown. It was like the whole world just opened up to me, you know. So my friend Andrew finally could drive, and we started going downtown, and we started finding other train yards, started finding these tooth bridges, and then we found out that, you know, hey, other people are doing this too, you know.
Yeah.
So we started running into people, like even at the skate park. I ran into a kid at the skate park who I'd never met, never seen his graffiti before, nothing, and then we started painting together. I couldn't even tell you what that kid wrote. I can't remember. He just did some like weird shit. But not really. I wouldn't necessarily say he was a graffiti writer, but he would just come out. He pretty much just came out to hang out. Okay. And he was down to go.
Also, can you tell us a little bit about the culture, like within train yards there? Because I just don't know. I mean, you've mentioned stuff like you could go in the day. You've mentioned that you've talked to workers while you were painting, and then you're talking about this kid who just wanted to hang out. Back then, even in 2002, like the first year you started painting, was it like chill? Like could you just go in the day and just hang out and paint all day without worry of the bull or about worrying about workers?
It used to be like that. It used to be any train yard in Omaha you could paint during the day. Any train yard, everywhere in the whole city, any train that you've seen, you could paint it during the day if you knew what was going on in that area.
Okay.
But now it's the opposite.
Well, I mean, I'm sure now there's just like hundreds of guys riding in Omaha, so they just blew up every yard, I presume, right?
Dude, honestly, there's probably, I would say there's maybe 10 active riders in Omaha right now.
Oh, really? Is that okay? I thought it would be bigger.
Yeah,
Okay.
who go and like paint trains. I mean, maybe 10.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, like when I say active, I mean like at least going and paint trains like once or twice a week.
Yeah.
Or every 2 weeks, you know, like there's some guys here that they still like want to really hold on to like graffiti, and every once in a while they come out and paint graffiti, and then you don't see them for 6 months.
Yeah.
And, you know, so it varies, you know, like there's this young kid here right now, he rides Bash, and he just kind of became part of our little crew or whatever you want to call it. I laid up early. Yeah. And but yeah, this kid is just killing it right now, man. He'll go paint all these yards by himself at night. He'll do street spots like pieces, and
dope.
He reminds me of myself a lot. Like, he's only 19 years old and he has so much energy and so much drive, and it just reminds me a lot of me when I was his age.
That's awesome.
You know? Yeah.
And I think we'll definitely get to the crew in a second. You know, I was asking that question about like what your understanding of graph was back in your first year of painting, and you know, I'm also wondering if when your dad said, "Oh, this is bad, don't do this," if that was just like an immediate sign for you to be like, "Oh, this is good, this is what I'm going to do." Were you that kid that just wanted to do kind of the opposite in a way of what your dad told you?
Yeah. I always was, man. I was always a hard case, you know. I was attracted to crime. Stealing didn't even make my heart beat. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
I just did it, and it was like it was nothing. It was like I was walking in and making a sandwich. You know, it was. I was never nervous stealing or anything. It was just something that I did in order to do graffiti.
Nice.
You know. So.
You know, I'm also interested if you had like any thoughts of how big the graph scene was in those early years, 98, 99, 2000. Like, did you know that people were painting freights in every city in America, like on the regular? Or was that not?
Oh, no.
You didn't understand?
No. No, I had no clue.
So what were you thinking? I mean, all those trains you started to see in those yards, were you thinking they were just local guys?
Oh, no. My dad told me, you know, they go everywhere. They're all over. Okay. You know, he told me that. But me just being young and not really having like
perspective.
Yeah, you know, like not really knowing everything that's going on in trains.
Totally.
Like, I could only think so far, you know, and then I started realizing, you know, once I got older, my older teenage years, that like, damn, figuring out who's who and what crew they're in. Like, oh, this guy, I seen this guy, and then that's the same crew. Like, oh, it's the same dude, you know? And so I started figuring it out, of course. But
also, you said 2002 was the first, like, the year that you attribute to writing. Is that the year you did your first train, or did you do trains before you really think you were writing?
Let's see. So so it was probably like 2002, 2003, something like that. When I was 13, I was just about to turn 14, and that was the first time I painted a train. And that was the first time that I realized, like, holy shit, these things are huge, you know, like being a 13-year-old kid, you know, and I'm going to the train yard with 4 cans. Like, what did I really think I was going to do? You know?
and you were going with your homie Andrew. So you guys were both doing the same kind of thing. What was that first? Did you go in the day for your first train, or did you go at night? Oh, yeah, of course. They were moving trains around. They were working in there. A railroad worker actually walked right down the other side of the line, and we just stood there like idiots, you know? Like, we just stood there and quit spray painting so he couldn't hear us. Yeah. And then once we got so far down, we just kept painting, you know. It was like we had no clue how much trouble we really could have gotten in, you know. Totally. And back to when you were 10 and you got interested and you're seeing series, did you start tagging before you went to the train yards? Like, were you practicing? Yes. Yeah. What were you writing? What names did you kind of cycle through? Oh my God. So I actually started
I started writing Ser or Sir, however you want to say it, SER, because those were the letters that I was seeing. So I was like, okay, how can I tweak this, and this and that, and then I started changing it around. So I started writing Esser, ESER. So like when I saw series, those were like the letters that I was seeing on a regular basis.
Right.
So I started playing with those letters, and then I started adding in the letters. So my first name on trains that I was writing was actually Keser, KESER, which those pieces just look awful. I don't think there's probably one left. They're probably all gone over by now.
Yeah. How many Kesers do you think you put out there?
Gosh, I don't know. Maybe 50 to 100.
Okay.
Possibly.
So you're doing it. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was obsessed with graffiti when I first started going out. Like that first train I painted, just the feeling of that paint laying onto the train car. It was an auto rack.
Nice.
So, and just never painting on a train before. I was like, on an auto rack, huge, massive.
Yeah.
And then I look back at these pictures and I'm like, oh my god, that piece is like 4 feet long, like it's tiny. Like I was just this little kid, and I had no clue, and.
But that's so cool, man. Can you talk a little bit more about like the feeling and just like kind of maybe the emotions that you were going through when you did those first few trains?
Oh yeah, the first time I went in a train yard to paint on a train, I had no caps. Like I had nothing. Like it was just paint that I stole from this hardware store down the street from my parents' house,
with like stock caps on it.
Yeah, I had no clue about paint. I had no clue that Rusto was better than Krylon or Krylon was whatever. I had no clue about anything.
Yeah.
Like I thought spray paint was spray paint. I went, I did my train. It looked like shit. It looked terrible, and I loved it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, and that's when I started. When I painted that first train, boom, instantly I was hooked. Like, instantly.
Yeah. Well, what hooked you?
So,
what hooked you?
Just the feeling of painting, man. Like, the feeling of just, like, I'm not supposed to be here, but at the same time, no one knows that I'm here. And I just kind of have the freedom to just kind of create and do whatever I want. And no one knows about it until this train leaves.
Yeah, that's awesome. So there's like a layer of like mystery. It's like a secret that only you know, and that freedom was like probably the most powerful thing. And I wonder if you were like me. Like I got really into just everything that surrounded going to a train yard, getting my paint, sketching everything out, plotting out colors, plotting out how I would get to the yard, where I would run if I had to, like were all of those little details of doing trains or going out bombing, was that like enticing to you as well?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, definitely. I mean, like you said, picking out the colors. I think I maybe had like a couple different outlines. I was doing the same thing every time I went, What was the style? What do you think your Kesser kind of pieces looked like? I mean, were they straight letters? Did you have connections? Were they kind of flowy and funky, or? I think I would say it was more like a symmetrical thing. So like the kick on my K was like the same as the kick on my R type thing, and then and then it's like the K is the same thing as an R, and then you have the E, and then you have an S to break up all the straight legs in your other letters, and then you have back to the E, back to the R. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean, they're good letters. Kind of like, Kesser's that's good type, Yeah. So that was my thing, is always having like straight, and then a letter that you can do a lot of curves, and then straight, and then a lot of curves. You know what I mean? Yeah. So and that's kind of symmetry. Like I think everybody was being symmetrical back in the early 2000s. It was like a thing. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. And so and then. How did things progress? I mean, you said that Andrew kind of didn't paint very long. Did you, and you mentioned one other guy, but you said he wasn't really a graph guy. Did you take on partners like early on that were like really as focused and dedicated as you? So I was living in West Omaha. Me and my family lived in East Omaha by the airport, and then we moved out west. So we lived like literally probably 2 minutes from downtown, and then we went from living down there to all the way out to out west, where there was like nothing going on. You know what I mean? Yeah. So once I got like friends who could drive and then I could drive, I started immediately going downtown.
Mm-hmm.
And I met these kids. There was actually a graffiti crew that I didn't know about, called Enemy. And, it was, I want to say it was like four or five people at the time. And I was like, wow, like, holy shit, like these kids are like going out and painting trains, you know? And I was just like so excited, you know? And I ended up meeting, I met three of them at one time. They actually came out and picked me up, and then I went out painting with them and shit. And they were like,
interesting.
Just so down. Yeah, they
how'd
were
you
so
set
down.
that
You
up?
know?
How did that become like a thing? Like, yeah, pick me up and we'll go.
Dude, it was like all word of mouth. You know, it was like all word of mouth, and like so and so knew so and so, and just being curious of other graffiti writers, you start nosing around. You're like, man, where is this kid? Who is this kid? You know?
Yeah, totally.
And it was who today is still a good friend of mine. He writes Nas, Nas. He's an Enemy and AMT, and this kid FaZe, who I think he still does paint. I haven't seen him in a long time. And then this other guy Zesto, who quit painting graffiti a long time ago. But yeah, it was those three, man, and they were super active, and it got me so. Like, it just got me even more juiced. I mean, I was even excited just painting on my own, and then putting on this whole, like, crew of graffiti writers. I'm like,
yeah, that changes the game completely.
Yeah.
And so then what happened? Did you start rolling with that Enemy crew and doing more and more missions with them? Yeah, we started going and painting trains. We started painting in this train yard. Well, the train yard they were doing mostly was in South Omaha, and which is a yard that's super burnt out now. Anybody who's been painting for a long time or is still active, they will not go to that train yard. That's where like all the kids, gangbangers and taggers, they all go there. Someone gets caught there probably once a month, you know, if more. Okay.
So, but yeah, that's where we started painting all of our trains together, man. And they actually put me in their crew, and I was in that crew for quite a while.
And so, Enemy was that's like the first real graph crew that you got put down with.
That was it.
Yeah, and that must have felt pretty good too, right? To just like have like a team, kind of overnight, like
Yeah. I mean, and it was like when I met him, I was like, wow, these guys are all trying to do exactly what I'm trying to do, and they take it just as serious as I do, you know. So it was like just immediately we clicked, and they were doing like lots of colors. Excuse me, I was doing lots of colors. So, because they started seeing my graffiti and they were like, man, this kid's got to be from here, you know?
Oh, and why? Why do you think that? Was there like an Omaha style that you could like pinpoint?
No, just because I was painting at a train yard that during the day that they were painting at night. And they would go there at night and then boom, you know, and they'd be like, man, this piece, like, this is like it just got painted, you know? And that's when we started like realizing that we were from the same city. Is going to the train yard. Like, I would show up and they had just been there the night before, and I'm like, man, like, I haven't seen this in here yet, you know, or whatever. And then it just started clicking, and then just like I said, Omaha's small, man, and we knew similar people and just got linked up that way.
Yeah,
through other people that we do.
I often wonder in like small towns with very small scenes, like, isn't it hard to keep it under wraps? Like, don't you like find that other writers are kind of obvious in small cities like that, or is that not the case? Yeah, it is like that.
If you're smart about it.
Yeah.
When I was young, I like I said, when I got a car, that's when I really started going around. I mean, I was doing things in Omaha that, you know, really I should have been like in a way bigger city. Like I was thinking way too big for where I live. Like I was piecing rooftops, you know. I was doing the stairwells down beside the buildings. I was doing billboards, you know, and I was doing fire extinguishers. Like I mean I was just like this just crazy about graffiti. Like I wanted to do it every way I could, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
And which it's kind of like what you said. It brought a lot of heat to me, and that's I was. Let's see. I think I was probably like 17 or 18 when I really started painting in the city, and that was too much for Omaha, that's for sure. And it
really?
brought a lot of heat on me.
Okay, and so so what happened? Did you get like your door kicked down, or like did you?
Yeah. So me, Nas, and this other kid who writes Dezo, which was another kid that I met when I was probably about 17.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out he actually lived out in West Omaha where I lived, which was crazy. It's just like meeting someone close to where I live. I'm like, man, I've never even heard of you. And then here he is. He's actually going out and doing graffiti all the time, you know? So it was me, Dezo, and Nas painting in the South Omaha train yard. And all of a sudden we see a cop just standing right behind us.
Oh, shit.
And thank God I had a respirator on and a hat. And so I'm like, fuck. I'm like, yo, I'm like looking at this cop, and then I look back at Nas, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck? And he looks back, and then boom, we just all took off. But Dezo went running the opposite way of us. Mm. So we hop through these trains, and we get to the other side of the train yard, and there's like 3 cop cars sitting there. I'm like, dude, they're raiding us. Like they're like trying to catch everyone in this yard, you know? Mm-hmm. And me and Nas actually had to hop over a cop car because they were like butted together. They were like trying to like literally like barricade us in, you know? And we had to jump over a cop car, and we ran all the way to Nas's sister's apartment. Damn. And we just like hid out there. And the police actually called my cell phone.
Oh, fuck.
And they were, and they were like, hey, we're at your car right now. You might as well come turn yourself in.
Oh, damn.
I was like, and my buddy Nas was just like, yo, what the fuck, dude? And then someone started calling his phone.
How did the cops get your number?
I know that's what's freaky is because as soon as we ran out of that train yard, my car was parked like somewhat close to the yard. Mm. So someone must have like ID'd me. Someone must have snitched on me or ID'd me. Mm. That like got caught, like some younger kid that got caught that I knew,
just gave you up.
Or like like I said, I was young and dumb and had my name on my skateboard, and you know what I mean. So and that's how it happens here. Is they catch these younger kids, and they're like, oh, you must know so and so.
Of course,
you know, is this him? Like, what's he look like? You know, and we'll give you less time or whatever.
Yeah, they roll over. Yeah,
so,
of course.
Yeah, and they roll over. You know, then people find out who we are. You know,
so then what happened? So you get this phone call, and what'd you do?
I didn't answer it. One of the detectives left a voicemail. I played it. Me and Nas were like tripping out. We're like freaking out. We're like, what the fuck, you know? And so Nas immediately was like, dude, someone snitched on you or us or something. Like someone snitched on you personally. Mm-hmm. Like, how do they have your phone number? You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm like, dude, what the fuck is going on? I'm tripping. So I actually had to have my mom and dad come down and tell the police, like, hey, this is my son's car, you know, and he left it down here. He was drinking the other night or whatever, and he left his car here. And the detectives were like, dude, we're not dumb. Like, we just chased your kid out of here. And my mom said, I don't know what you're talking about. And the detective said, do you even know who your son is? Do you know what he does? And she was like, you don't know what you're talking about. He doesn't do anything. Da, da, da. And they caught Dezo. Mm. Dezo got caught, and he was sitting in the police car. And this, keep in mind, this was like a good friend of mine. Someone I hung out with at least 3 times a week. We'd go out and paint, hang out, whatever.
Yeah.
And the cop looked in the cop car, and she said, do you know who this young man is? And my mom said, nope, never seen him in my life. So they were just like, wow, like his parents are down. Yeah. You know? So they had to give my dad, which actually at the time the car was in his name.
Okay.
So yeah.
So then he took the car, and then nothing, no charges, no case, no nothing.
They left it. They left it alone. They left it alone. They kept investigating all of us, and then I think when I was 20 is when we got raided again in the train yard, and that night is when we all got busted. Mm-hmm. So,
and like, I'm also curious. Before that, were you writing HAMER yet when this happened?
I was writing HAM.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't know that that's me, that I'm Ham.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started writing another name when I lived in Detroit briefly, mm-hmm. and then I started writing HAMER I started messing around with Ham, you know, because I got caught with that name. So it felt natural to like change my name for a while, you know?
Yeah.
And then I was like, fuck that. I'm just going to do my name, you know?
And so when
I didn't like.
I'm sorry, when you were 20 and you got wrapped up, did they have like a case against you? Did they have flicks? Did they have a bunch of Ham stuff? Did they
everything?
Really?
Yeah.
And
they actually like had a tracker on my car.
What?
They had a tracker on my car, like a GPS tracker, and I didn't believe them.
Is that fucking legal?
Dude, I don't know.
It sounds highly illegal, dude. Interesting.
That was what I was asking my lawyer, and I told my lawyer, I was like, "Hey, I've been getting pulled over, like once every month or two for like the last like year, and nothing happens." And my lawyer was like, "Yeah," and I didn't believe that they had a tracker on my car. I was like, "Bullshit! These motherfuckers are lying," you know.
Mm-hmm. The
detective came in, slapped all these folders down. And it was like a folder full of all the locations that I was at for like the span of like 7 months.
Wow. Damn.
So I mean, they knew when I was at home. They knew when I was at my girlfriend's house. They knew when I was at the gym. They knew when I was at work. They had had it all. You know.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
And what happened from that case? Like with all of that, and like what did they charge you with?
So originally I got charged with, it was like 3 felonies, and like 16 misdemeanors.
Wow.
So I hired a lawyer, of course, right? I hired a lawyer.
Yeah.
And, he got everything reduced. I got super lucky, man. The lawyer that I hired used to date the judge's daughter. And they were like, and they were still like on really good terms. Like he still went to lunch with this girl that he used to date in college.
Damn.
And he like knows her father, like this judge.
Wow.
And they were like tight, you know. And so my lawyer went to the back with them, and he was just like, "Look, dude, like this kid is not like a gangbanger. He's not out here like selling drugs. Like he just paints graffiti. Like,
yeah,
you know, he does art. Like he like paints and shit, you know, like he's not like a terrible kid, you know."
And was that was that a common thought? Was that any kid that's painting a train in the yard is probably a gangbanger who sells drugs?
No, the cops really knew the difference.
Okay.
They really knew. Surprisingly, they really knew like what it was that we were doing, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, my lawyer, he hooked it up, man. He got me off for the felonies.
Damn.
I ended up getting, they brought 3 felonies down to 1 misdemeanor.
Wow, dude. 3 felonies and 16 misdemeanors down to 1 misdemeanor. And what was it? Was it like was it vandalism? Was it like trespassing? Yeah.
Back then they classified it as destruction of property.
Oh, that's great.
And my lawyer argued with the judge, like, "Hey, like, you know, these cops and these people are saying that it costs all this money to fix these cars, but he didn't damage these cars. He just defaced them.
Yeah.
He didn't like ruin the train car.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all you got to do is like repaint them or whatever, you know." So the judge, I think the judge just really, I got lucky, man. He sided with what my lawyer was saying, and he knew what it was, you know. And it's like, yeah, this kid's like not like lighting cars on fire, like, you know what I mean? Like, he's not like doing crazy shit, you know. So
and so then I'm also curious, like, I mean, that's like, dude, you dodged a bullet, right? Big time. Like, I'm also, do you even know how they decide what's a felony? Like, I know in California it was like X amount of dollars of vandalism would constitute a felony. How did they come up with what a felony was? Do you know?
I think back then it was like 600 and over.
Oh
something
my
like
God,
that.
You're kidding, really? Whoa.
So like 600. If it was $600 or more of damage, then you could be charged with a felony.
Wow.
But it always got dropped. It always got dropped. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think it was more like a scare tactic.
Sure.
Really.
That makes sense. Yeah, man, it scares me just hearing about it, dude. And I'm like, whoa, 3 felonies. That's fucked up. That'll fuck your whole life, dude. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, painting in Omaha is sweet, but when you get caught here, I mean, they treat you like you are a criminal.
Yeah.
Like, and they want you. They wanted me to go to jail so bad.
It's interesting.
They wanted me to go to jail, and I ended up just getting house arrest. So
okay, how long did you do house arrest for?
oh man, it was like 30 days. It was
Okay.
like nothing.
That's not
so I went from looking at a year and a half in prison
Yeah.
and like these crazy fines to my lawyer, like pretty much sweet talking the judge, because they know each other. And then I got 3 felonies dropped to a misdemeanor. He put me on like 2 years probation. And I think I had a fine of like $3,800 or something like that.
Okay.
But after that, I went down to the next courtroom. I mean, I literally was in court for felonies, got done, an hour later went downstairs for all my misdemeanors.
Mm-hmm.
So I got done with that stuff, and then I went downstairs to the other courtroom, and they gave me I forget how many days in jail it was, but then my lawyer was like, can you do house arrest? They said yes. I got 30 days house arrest, and then I got another year of probation. So I had 2 years of probation. They gave me like 400 or 500 hours community service.
Oh, that probably took a while.
Yeah,
to
like
knock off.
it was a lot. I was kind of like, man, I kind of would rather just sit in jail for 30 days if that was an option.
Because I'm presuming those. You said 400 hours.
400 hours.
So that must have taken you at least a year and a half to probably do, I'm guessing.
Yeah. The whole 2 years I was on probation, man. I was trying to like keep a job and then do that at the same time,
Dude,
so
yeah, because I got 250 hours when I was a kid, and that took me like way over a year to knock off. It was such a pain in the ass.
It takes forever, man.
And then then I'm curious about so you got wrapped up. All that stuff was for ham, right?
Right.
Or did they have even older stuff on you, or was it just all ham flicks?
It was all my ham stuff.
Okay.
And they, so what they did was they came in my house, like I was some like drug lord. They like had guns drawn.
Oh shit.
They cuffed my older brother.
Whoa.
It was super fucked up. It was totally fucked up, and they took all my spray paint. They took anything that had a drawing on it, like anything that had graffiti on it, anything, man. I mean, like my desk, like anything, and they took it.
Wow.
They were taking pictures of everything, and at the time I had probably like, I had like just hundreds of cans of spray paint, and that's when they started asking me about stealing. They're like how, like you're like, you don't even have a job right now. Like, how can you afford to buy all this spray paint? Like, you must be stealing it. And I'm like, of course, if you're not saying nothing, I'm like, you can think whatever you want, you can think what you want, but that's it,
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I mean, of course, they're not stupid. They knew I was stealing spray paint, it's like obvious, like hundreds of cans of paint, that's like thousands of dollars. So.
Yeah, and I mean, dude, they were on you, man. Like, I mean, tracking your car, coming into your place. Like, they spent a lot of time and resources on you, which says a lot. It says you were doing it. You must have been killing it.
Yeah.
And then I'm curious about your like 2 years of probation. Did it have like an effect on you? Did everything slow down for a little while after the case?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't out of the ordinary for a detective to stop by my house and be nosy.
Really?
And they would, I had a couple detectives come to my house, and my mom told them, like, you're not coming in our house, like, yeah, he's on probation or whatever, but you're not coming in here being nosy.
Yeah.
And they would come over and they would try to peek in our garage, like, oh, is he painting in there? Like, is he still interested in it? They wanted to know if I was like a kid who, like, because like I said, they're not dumb. They know that like getting caught is not the end of the story for a lot of graffiti writers.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's just going to be on hold for a little while, So I went those 2 years, man. I didn't paint graffiti. I didn't paint illegally for those 2 whole years.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And then once I got off probation, I lied. Actually, I painted, I think, like 2 times. A couple times I went out, but I was like so nervous, man. Like, I was like, oh my God. Like, like, you know what I mean? Like, they had a tracker on my car when I wasn't on probation. I'm like, fuck. So I was parking like 2 miles from the train yard, like, this was like towards the end of my probation, I was like, oh my God, like I have to be fucking MacGyver with this shit right now, you know, like I just can't afford it, you know, and I just started getting the itch really bad, man, you know.
I mean, what about other things? Like, did you think about doing like some legal walls or like, you know, like super chill day spot walls or anything like that during these 2 years?
Yeah, we have some legal walls here. I was painting legal walls. I would go as far as to like walk somewhere and have my friend pick me up there.
Mm-hmm.
So I never drove my car. You know what I mean? I'd cut through neighborhoods and I'd be like, yo, meet me over here. Like, that's how paranoid I was, you know, because I seen how far they took it. And I'm like, oh my God, like, geez, dude, it's like impossible, you know? So yeah, I started painting legal walls and I didn't even want them to know that either, really, you know?
Yeah. And then, but after the 2 years was up, how did it go? Where you were just like, now I'm going to transition to HAMER and.
I changed my name.
Yeah.
Totally.
Okay.
I started playing around with some other names because really, man, I was like, man, if I get caught again, I'm like fucked. You know what I mean? Like if they caught me in Nebraska again, I'm totally fucked. So I started writing different names.
Okay.
And when I got caught, the one detective, she even told me, she's like, you know, if you wouldn't have done any graffiti in the city, we wouldn't even know who you are. She was like, if you would have just kept painting trains, we would never even know who you are. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, man, you know, and that goes back to what I was saying. Like, I was thinking way too big, like, for this small place. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, but I mean, I don't know, man. I'm glad you did it, dude, because I think the fact that you spent some time doing streets, billboards, rooftops, and stuff like that. I mean, that's what writers do. You know what I mean? So I think it's good.
Exactly.
I mean, you know, sorry you got bagged, and sorry you had to deal with all that. That sucks. But I don't know. I would just chalk it all up as like that's what writers do. You know? Yeah. I mean, people that only paint trains, like that's cool. That's great. You know, it's still bombing. Like I respect it completely, but it's good to be able to have done streets, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then when did you start writing HAMER in like full force?
I started writing HAMER, the last, let's see, I moved to Detroit when I was like 24, like right when I turned 24, I moved to Detroit. I was like, man, I gotta get the fuck out of Omaha, you know? Like I was still living in Omaha after I got caught. So by this time I was 22, almost 23. And I'm like, okay, every time I wanted to like really paint when I was like, man, I want to fucking like paint a rooftop. I want to piece some street spots, like even do a train. Like I would travel. Mm-hmm. And so I started going to Kansas City, Missouri, which is like 3.5 hours from Omaha, Nebraska, which is actually it's a really cool city. It's awesome. Definitely. And, so I started going there and I started linking up with guys there and painting there. And they were just like, dude, why don't you just move up here? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I know I need to move somewhere, you know? And then of all places, it ended up being Detroit.
I mean, dude, you know, and you were there. What year was that you moved there? Do you remember? Said you were 24.
Yeah, let's see. I'm 28 now, so yeah, 4 years ago.
Dude, that was 13. A good time to be there. I wish I could have been there. People were just
that was like the heyday. Yeah, that was the heyday of Detroit for sure, man.
And so, what was your Detroit experience like?
Oh, it was awesome, man. I got invited out there to go paint just to check it out, and just like loved it. I was like, oh my God, this is awesome.
I mean, it just always looked like a playground, you know, a graffiti playground.
Yeah, man, it is, and it's still as easy to paint there, you know. Like you still see people piecing on right off the street, like right on the side of the road, you know, which is like pretty rare in most places, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they just don't have like after like the collapse of that city, there's just like no resources. They don't have the money to pay the cops to be everywhere at once, you know. So
no, and they don't even care. The cops don't even care about graffiti.
Well,
you know, so, like,
and a lot of it is actually improving a lot of those communities, believe it or not, right? Like when street artists come in, and then all of a sudden, like a bar opens up, and then like a cafe, and it's like, oh, there's like a little bit of improvement happening in the community.
Yeah,
And so when you were up there, how long did you live in Detroit?
Oh, a very short amount of time, man. I think I was there for like 6 months, probably. Okay. I actually lived there for 6 months. I was visiting. I visited, let's see, a couple times, and then the last time I went, I was just like, man, I'm just gonna move up here. So I went home, packed up. Mom and Dad, I'm moving to Detroit. They're like, what? You're moving to Detroit? They thought I was fucking crazy, you know, and
Yeah.
I probably was, you know, Detroit's wild, but it was a lot of fun, man. Those were definitely some of the best times I've ever had painting graffiti.
I'm sure. I'm curious who you were seeing that was really like impressing you or like inspiring you in the year you were there, the 6 months you were there.
Oh, in Detroit?
Yeah.
Dude,
I mean, I'm sure there's a ton of names.
I would say the MSK guys.
Yeah.
Revoke, Trav. Those were the guys that I actually knew first. And then I got to Detroit, and then I started painting with like Elmer and Gasm, and Neat, and this chick's head, and like all these other, and Pack, and all these other people, you know.
Nice.
And oh man, it was just so much fun, man. And all these dudes were so cool, you know. They were such cool dudes, and painting with them, it was like people I also wanted to hang out with outside of graffiti. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
and that's cool. And that was probably also kind of a little new. I mean, actually, that probably was really interesting for you, I'm guessing, because now you're in a new city, and everybody in that city is from like not all over the world, but at least all over the country. And of course, there's international people there. It must have been special, you know, to be in that scene.
Oh, dude, yeah, it was like a total 180. You know, like being in Omaha, and it's like everyone who's legit and is really painting graffiti, I've known them since I was like 15, 16. You know what I mean? And then going to another city, and it's like, wow, there's like 100 people here that have been painting since they were 15 and 16. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was just like this whole wave of people. And I mean, I think the first like week I was in Detroit, I honestly probably met like 30 different graffiti writers. I was like, oh my God, there's not even 30 people in Omaha that paint graffiti. You know what I mean? Like, so it was really cool. And of course I was traveling before then, you know, so I definitely experienced a bigger city and, you know, a city with a lot more going on. But being in it, being involved in it, like, yo, you want to go paint? It's like every night you can go paint. Every single, like during the day you can go paint like pieces, like, you know, like it was awesome, man. And I had one buddy there, he writes Mellow, and he'd always be like, let's go paint a freight. And I'm like, dude, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, I don't want to paint no more freights, man. You know?
Yeah.
That's all I did.
I mean, with all those abandoned buildings and just all those day spots in Detroit, I don't blame you. Yeah. You know?
It was awesome, man. It was a lot of fun.
And so then when you were 24 was when you started pushing HAMER, when you went to Detroit?
Yeah, like probably the last 2 or 3 months. So like the last half of my time in Detroit, I was like, fuck, man, like I was hanging out at my house, my apartment one night, and I was just sketching, and I started playing around with ham, and then I did HAMR without the E. So I was like, man, it just felt so natural. It was like I just did an outline in like 5 minutes, you know, and I was just like,
dope.
Man, that's like just perfect, you know. It just worked so naturally for me.
Yeah.
So I went out that night and I did a HAMER piece, and I still have a flick of it. The very first one I did in Detroit, it was this wall right off the street, and I did this like, it was probably about 25 feet long, so it was like massive. I really like just hung out at this wall and like just took my time on it, you know, and made it really sick. And that was when I decided, like, yeah, I'm just going to do my fucking name, you know?
Sick. And all this time, like, I, you know, because I like draw a lot, like, I'm curious, like, are you a guy that like all your letter styles have like been developed on surfaces, or do you sketch?
I hardly ever draw graffiti. I feel like, kind of the process I go through with my lettering is I do a sketch. I get that one sketch, like that one outline. I'm like, all right, that looks good. I like all those letters. And then I start painting it, and then I start piecing stuff to it, to that same general outline. And I start piecing off of that. And then once I'm like, okay, all right, dude, you've been doing this for like 6 months now. Like, you know, change it up, do something else, you know, and then I do another outline. I sketch up some other stuff. So I really am not the graffiti artist that sits at home and draws graffiti. I don't ever draw graffiti, like never, you know? So
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I think a lot more people are that way. Like I come from a generation of black booking, and so it's interesting to hear younger guys and how black booking is just like, I mean, A, maybe it's too time consuming, or B, it's just like, it's not worth it because you can just go and do that on a surface, and learn it there.
Yeah.
And also, another thing that comes up a lot in our podcast is mentorship. And I think it's really interesting to hear from you. It sounds like that no one really brought you up. You don't have like a dedicated guy or girl that taught you stuff. Like you seem pretty self-taught other than meeting up with crews, Enemy, your that homie Andrew, then you get to Detroit and it's like meeting up with people. Is that about right? Like, can you cite one mentor or is it just buddies that you pick stuff up?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when I met up with Enemy and I got put down at Enemy, I mean, we were all pretty much on the same level.
Yeah.
They were actually already doing whole cars when they were like 16. FaZe and Nas were like already doing whole cars on auto racks. And that was the first time I'd like seen like, oh my God, like damn, they use roller paint and then they like spray paint their outline. You know what I mean? And I was like,
yeah,
damn, and then immediately that was the first thing I wanted to do after I seen it. I was like, I'm going to come do a whole car, so I did a whole car. And, but me personally, man, I've always been into fancy graffiti, I guess you would call it.
What's that?
Like nice, just like piecing, like burners and pieces. Like I've never really been huge on like just doing throw ups or
one color
just doing like a straight letter whole car. Like I've always like been interested in like outdoing the last one that I did, like making it.
Man, and we can see that. So. We see that in your work. It's like really clear. And actually, it's interesting to hear you mention MSK because like I can try to cite like that influence now when I look at your style, pretty like, and there's nothing wrong with that. MSK's influence just like so many people,
for sure.
Included, and so then I'm curious, and I know I want to be like conscious of your time, but what made you make the choice to go back to Omaha?
Well, Detroit, like I said, man, it was super wild, and I got shot at quite a few times there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the first time we were at a house party and it just got too wild. Fight broke out. Some people shot at us. That was the first time. And then me and Meeks and this chick who writes Head, we were out painting graffiti and some people actually pulled up right on the side of the street where we were painting and started unloading on us. And
damn. Wow.
Yeah. And we went back the next day and like there was like bullet holes all in our tags. Like we were just doing like big, huge fat cat tags, And
but those weren't like tag bangers or gang bangers. Were those just like random people just taking shots at writers for no reason?
I don't even know. I have no idea. I'm assuming it was someone who's like from that neighborhood that's like, what the fuck, like,
yeah,
you're just coming down here and you're tagging on our shit, even though it's all abandoned and it's like totally trash, like, I forget how much of Detroit is abandoned. I think it's like 40% of Detroit is like abandoned or something like that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Okay, so that makes it pretty easy to say, fuck this, right? Getting shot at a couple of times, I could see how you were like, nah, not so much. You still there?
Hello?
I lost you for a second there. But yeah, I could see how that would turn you off of Detroit a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
And so then you went back, you said 6 months. So you've been back there for the past 3 or 4 years now?
Yeah. Pretty much my idea was to move back to Omaha so that I could travel more because I had way better job opportunities here.
Okay.
So I would have a more stable lifestyle. And then, I mean, like when I was living in Detroit, I was racking everything. Food, clothes, shoes.
I think that's the paint. Detroit way from everybody.
Yeah, I mean, like literally everything I had was stolen, and it gets like really exhausting, like call it what you want. Like it was like getting exhausting. I'm like, oh my God, like it's like everything I needed, I was feeling it, and it's like, oh my God, like, yeah, I just need a normal lifestyle for a while. So I moved back to Omaha and I got a place in downtown Omaha and then I started traveling more. So I was like, fuck man, like right away when I got here, I had a good job and I just started traveling. I started going all over, painting as many places as I could. So,
I'm curious, man, because like I feel like you're just blowing up right now. I wonder, and I see you doing a little bit more wall here and there, little maybe a little less freights, a little bit more walls. And I just wonder, like, what's next? Do you think, like, are we going to start seeing you kind of doing the rounds internationally, doing like big festivals and things? Is that something that's on your mind?
Yeah, it definitely is. I really want to. I'm actually prepping for my first, I don't know, I guess you could say legit mural.
Dope.
That's gonna take quite a while to do it. So, it's actually for a gym that, it's a warehouse, and, they want me to do 3 different walls in this gym.
Brash.
So it's gonna be like 3 separate murals.
Awesome.
So we're gonna do like everything in sections. So.
And
yeah, I'm excited.
Well, that's dope, man. And I look forward to just kind of keeping tabs on you and following. Please come to Brooklyn. Invitation has been put out there, dude. Come out here and paint with us. You been to New York City?
I've been dying to go to New York City, man.
Come out. Now you got the invite, dude. I got walls for you all over. We got all kinds of shit we can paint, so come out. And
hell yeah.
Listen, dude, this has been awesome. It's been great to hear your story and get it on record. And for people that don't know you, because I think a lot of our base actually is just like really new to graph and they want to find the people to follow. Where can we find your work? I know Instagram, you have a handle, but and can you tell us about that? And do you have a Facebook, a Twitter, a website? Where can we find your work?
I really don't do any social media besides Instagram. I don't really see the point in having anything else, really. So I feel like everyone has Instagram, so
yeah, definitely.
I just do that, man. I just have Instagram, and then I have a little website that's in a link on my Instagram. So you can go see some paintings and drawings and stuff like that.
And what's your Instagram handle?
It is HAMER.1. So HAMER. Yeah.
Period. 1.1. Okay, dope. And then through there's a site where people can. Oh, that's right. Because I've seen some sick canvases actually, dude. And so you have some work for sale on the site that's on the link in your bio.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to actually, how I redid my Instagram. I got rid of a bunch of stuff. I'm also getting ready to do that on my website. I'm going to make everything brand new. So it's going to be a lot more of my drawings and my comic book art and stuff like that.
Yeah, so. That's awesome, man. And so you guys heard it here. He's ready to work.
Oh, hell yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, listen, dude, it's been great talking to you. And that's it. I thank you.
Awesome, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun, man.
Hell yeah. It's great to hear from you. My Life in Letters is looking to grow and expand our team. If you think you're right to collaborate and partner with us, please drop us a line at either mylifeinletterspodcast@gmail.com or send us a direct message at our Instagram page at My Life in Letters Podcast. My Life in Letters is recorded live in Bushwick, Brooklyn, USA. Our sponsor is sprayplanet.com. Our producer is Christopher Piccioni. Our videographer is Jordan Miller for Way Up Creative. Our intern is Jessica McGarr. Our theme music is by Fonte, and my name is Adam Fujita. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. Peace.
The Language of Letters